Hello and welcome back to Talking Europe. It was not supposed to happen again. 2 years ago, the cash-for-favours scandal known as Qatargate rocked the European Parliament and sent shockwaves across the EU. In the wake of that scandal, reforms were introduced to improve transparency. But now, fresh allegations of bribery have hit the EU's legislature, purportedly to the benefit of China's tech giant Huawei, according to the Belgian prosecutor's office. Now, of course, Huawei is one of many companies that try to shape conversations here in Brussels, and firms do report their activities on the EU's transparency register. But Huawei has been in the spotlight because it builds 5G networks, and Western countries are worried about possible collusion between Huawei and the Chinese Communist Party, a notion that the tech firm routinely rejects. We're going to dive into all of this with two MEPs, in fact, two veterans of the European Parliament. Fabienne Keller is a quaestor of this Parliament, and quaestors are elected to oversee the administrative and financial matters affecting MEPs. She's French and a member of the centrist Renew group. Welcome to you.
Hello.
I'm also here with Daniel Freund, a German Green. He used to work, before becoming an MEP in 2009, he worked for Transparency International, advocating for EU integrity, and he now co-chairs the European Parliament's Intergroup on anti-corruption. Welcome to you as well. So, Daniel Freund, were you surprised by this latest scandal, or did you think something like this was going to happen?
Not surprised. It has become, unfortunately, almost routine that offices here are sealed, that we have searches in MEP or staff offices. But my first thought was, oh, not again.
Right. It's not great for the image of the European Parliament. I mean, it's really a gift to all of the EU's foes around the world, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, we've done some reforms after Qatargate, but some stuff is also still stalling, and actually some here in the House, extreme right conservatives have actually started to argue to roll back many of the reforms that we took after Qatargate. But this clearly shows we need better rules, and more importantly, we need better enforcement of the rules that we have.
Fabienne Keller, were you surprised by this Huaweigate?
Yes, of course I was surprised. It's very sad for our parliament to have such a scandal coming up. But I think it's also good. It means that people are talking, people are realizing things are not going correctly, and justice, the Belgian justice in this case, is working thoroughly, and it's important to dig into that case and see what happened.
And as a quaestor, what is your role going to be in all of this? I believe you did recently talk to the security apparatus of the Parliament.
Of course, Huawei is not used as a... We don't buy Huawei devices. We forbid TikTok several years ago. That was quite a discussion because it's forbidden in the tools we are using to work on the European Parliament's file. But on the other way, it's too bad not to be at all on the networks where the youth in particular is getting the information, and leave the space only for the extreme right people and some influencers that have very specific ideas like completists. So it's you have to find a balance not to be out of certain tools. But we have banned Huawei, we have banned TikTok, but we need to go further, and we have technological issues and ethical issues to manage at the same time.
Just to be clear, though, when you say banning Huawei devices, that's for actual staff, because as a visitor, I could easily come in with a Huawei phone. I could have come in with that today. There's no checks on that. And I guess you don't want the European Parliament to be a China-style surveillance thing.
Yeah, and I have actually written to the Parliament President and also to the President of the Commission. I want the same ban that we have for TikTok. I would like that for Huawei, that none of the staff, none of the members should be able to use those devices for Parliament email, for example, so that no confidential or important documents can slip over to the Chinese government, basically.
Yeah. Fabienne Keller, what has been done and what is still missing in terms of the post-Qatargate reforms?
Well, we took a set of additional decisions, 14 points. For example, our colleagues we have to declare all our appointments with the lobbyists and describe what it is about. all our trips, if we have some trips paid by third persons. We have to declare any gifts of value higher than, well, actually, it's forbidden to have a gift of a value higher than 150. All those rules have been implemented quite recently. We are still on working to check them, because it's not only the subject is not only to have the rule, but to implement it and make sure that they work. Will it stop tentatives to buy some of our colleagues? I'm not sure, but we have also to have a declaration, well, a system where we try to find information in a very agile way to stop any criminal trying to, influence us in a criminal way that's not in a way that's respectful of our rules.
So there are reforms, but how effective has the implementation been, Daniel?
Well, the problem is that if you break any of those rules, nothing ever happens. Till this day, no one has really been sanctioned. And I have to say, if a citizen gets on the bus without left their ticket at home, they pay 100 euros for leaving the ticket at home. And here, members of parliament, they get invited to trips, they don't declare, and then nothing. Then the worst thing that can happen is they have to file the declaration late. So I really think, and that was the proposal of this entire parliament following my recommendation, we take this out of the parliament, we stop with the self-policing, because this whole MEPs check on MEPs, commissioners check on commissioners, quite honestly, it doesn't work. We need independent oversight. That's why we said we create this independent ethics body. But now the conservatives and the extreme right are doing everything so that it can't start working. We agreed on this. 8 institutions, parliament, commission, everyone came together and signed this agreement over a year ago already. And now the parliament is blocking to start the work.
This is the 110,000 euros to the ethics body that is blocked, correct?
Absolutely. I must say I was in the batch committee that had to vote on that. And it was really a shock for both of us to see that the Conservatives refused to vote, and with the far-right groups blocked that transfer that corresponded to this ethical body, as Daniel Freund just said, independent from our institution, thought to be efficient for the Council, the Commission and the Parliament, and be a counterpower to check and to make inquiries in our functioning.
What arguments did they give you? Is it just the paperwork argument that we're moving towards simplifying everything across the EU, so why should we add more paperwork in this field?
Yeah, that was one of the arguments. The other one was very usual in politics. It's we agree with the ethical rules, but not that way. But they wouldn't express which other way they would propose, because they agreed to the principle of this ethical body previously.
I have to say, for me, this is about the arrival of Trump-style politics in the European Parliament as well, because basically saying the Parliament should no longer pay its bills, to the Commission. They made that request for the 110,000 euros. It's a bill that we receive. We signed the agreement, we ratified the agreement, now we got to pay the bill. And also when it comes to making this thing work, we can all disagree on whether this is the way to go, but right now the Parliament with a large majority has accepted this, and then we need to do it. If you don't want this, well then you need to put to a vote that we leave that agreement, but they're not doing that, and not respecting agreements with other institutions and not paying the bills. I don't think that that is a sensible way of doing politics, and we should not have that here.
Do you think there's been an ethical shift as well, Fabienne Keller, as well as on these reforms, or is it still, as Daniel was describing, how MEPs can still go on a trip to the Maldives that is paid for and it's not illegal? I mean, you have to declare it, but it's actually legal to do something like that. Does that sort of situation, does it pose ethical problems from your perspective?
Yes, it clearly does. If this trip has no link with your mission as a member of parliament, it's really an ethical issue, and you have to look into who is paying for it, what's their interest. They probably pay for some reason, so it causes an ethical problem, and we hope that the ethical body would point this.
Yeah, so that ethical body could have looked into this phenomenon of outside consulting if it had actually seen the light of day.
I mean, the ethics body is supposed to do 2 things. One is to make sure that in all the institutions we raise the standards, we have better rules, we close the loopholes. And the second thing is, on particularly severe cases, the institutions can say, look, we send an individual case in a way for outside counsel to say, you know, we don't just deal with it within the parliament, but we get advice from very eminent experts in this ethics body on how to deal with a specific case.
Yeah.
And the belief in such a body is very important for our citizens. It's a question of confidence to politicians. We can have different ideas, but what we are driven with must be, you know, ethic, must represent people, citizens' interests and issues, housing, everyday life, international relations, defense, etc., and not any mercantile interest because you were paid for something, and that's really expected by people. And we were in a good way with the internal rules and the ethical body, but it seems, as you say, Daniel,
it's under attack. It's under attack. You have to say it like that. It's even on some of the rules where we thought, you know, for example, one of the things we introduced after Qatargate is a ban for MEPs to do lobby jobs on the side. But now the question is, what exactly does that mean? And the Conservatives, again, are saying, for example, if you preside an organization that's on the lobby register, that in itself is not lobbying. And I ask, I mean, if you're the boss of a lobby organization, what else are you doing than lobbying? How is this still allowed that members of parliament are not only heading lobby organizations, but are getting tens of thousands of euros per year on side income for that? I think we need to stop these kind of things.
We'll have to end it there, but of course we will closely follow this scandal now known as Huaweigate as it develops. Thank you to my guests, Fabienne Keller and Daniel Freund, and do stay with us here on Talking Europe.